G'day everybody. Really enjoying sharing my stamps with everybody. I was going through one of my stock books the other day and I saw I had a lot of KGV heads just in stock and about 23 pages of 1D reds. Now I know there's a lot of specialised collectors out there that collect 1D reds, so I thought let's just do a nice slow-mo across them all and have a look at each stamp, and the experts out there can tell us what the differences are on a couple of the stamps and help me because my eyes are starting to go. But I thought it'd be a bit of fun to have a look at. Anyway, let's go.
Right, first I think we'll talk about the catalogue I'm using, because every collection you need to use the catalogue to guide you on how to collect or the way you want to collect. Not everyone can just collect dogs if they want, but for me, I'm an engineer by heart and I like to sequentially collect things. So I like to get the book and go, all right, that's number one, let's do that. And then these books are specialists. So once you've got the 1D red, what else is there to know about a 1D red? Well, if you get this book, it'll tell you what you need to know about each one of the KGVs. Now, this is an older book. This is 2018. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. Just had a look on their website just then. There's a 2022 version, and they'll have all up-to-date prices, and the work they do is absolutely, beyond a doubt, the best catalogues in the world. I think I'm very lucky, or a lot of Australians are very lucky to collect stamps here because all their catalogues are phenomenal. So if you just go ahead and we have a look up to the start of the 1D red, starts here and there's about 50 pages. 50 pages of the 1Ds. And the beauty about them is someone's gone to all the work to get a 1D red and find all the imperfections on that 1D red and then do little numbers on them, which is fantastic. And they call it plate varieties because every plate would have made a little mistake on the stamp. So a little nick here or a little nick there, and people collect those. And it's fun, especially if you've got good eyesight. And then what they do is, with the rarity of it, like over here it's a fairly easy one, there's a line right through. Down here on Penny, there's a little line through there, and there's a line down here. So what they do is they go through the plates, and they give you a variety of prices for all the different plate varieties, which just makes the hobby so much more exciting. And then you've got different dies, die 1, die 2, die 3, and that's where they've tried to improve the dies so there's less imperfections, but they've just created more imperfections. So it just makes the study of 1D reds very special. I know stamp collectors that gave up once they did their Australian album, collected all the Australian stamps. They just went, right, now I'm just going to do 1D reds. I started to do that and I found it very, very time consuming and hard. And while I was working as an engineer, I just didn't have the time. But I did collect a lot of 1D reds. So let's go have a look at them now. Before we proceed to have a look at all the 1D reds, I would suggest if you've got bad eyesight like me, these are phenomenal. Magnify everything. I had a hand magnifier, but these, you just stick on your head, they've got a light, they've got a little monocle if you need to sort of get a little bit closer up, but absolutely brilliant. And then if you want to use a magnifying glass on top of that, you can really see nice and easy at the stamps. Right, for everyone that's interested, and especially the 1D experts, I'll just slowly move through these stamps. I'll see if I can get a nice close-up shot so we can see them nicely. There we go. You're able to stop your video if you need to. Now, I collected a lot of these by buying bag lots, auctions. People were retired and just gave me their grandparents' stamp albums, and I just pulled them out. And I thought one day I'm going to start going through them and I'm going to start finding all the bits and pieces. Now I do have a page somewhere where I've done 2 or 3 pages of all those marks and plate varieties. Oh, just for the life of me, I can't find them at the moment. I don't think anyone's taken them, especially not the kids because they don't like stamps that much. Oh, look at that. Looks like a cancelled order. And I have not looked at these for a good 10 years, 15 years. So I'm looking at these now and going, oh, I think I might see a mark or two. Oh, there you go, it's perforation, private company or a state government. Be nice to see if we've got some nice cancels on these as well. Now the beauty about stamp collecting, and especially specialised, that's a lot darker, isn't it? Specialised stamp collecting is, stamp collecting, you know, it can be general, right? You can collect one of everything, two of everything, and as you've probably seen in my other collections, I like a mint unhinged, a mint, cancel to order, a used, and then, you know, the plates, and you build up on your collection like that, which is great. But then, as you would have seen, my other specialised collection was just the 3D MR, green ones. I just love those, and I can just, you know, there's enough varieties to keep me interested. That looks pretty rough. And I can just keep going. But there are collectors out here that would be looking at this video right now and going, wow, look at these 1D reds. And they're probably going, slow down, Jeff. Don't go so fast. So I can understand if you say, you're thinking to yourself, you know, oh, that's enough for the 1D reds. Thank you very much, Jeff. And you're going to flick off the video and move on. That's no problems. But doing it for the diehards out there, I've just stopped on that one because it's very red. And I think I'm enjoying this as well. It's good looking through it with the camera because it's sort of magnifying it for me, which is quite nice. You can see, like, there are differences. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to go, look, those two stamps are different. And that's the beauty about stamp collecting. You collect what you want. There's no rules. And that took me a long time to realise. When I started first collecting, my grandfather said, this is how you do it. And he had a world catalogue and you collect the world. And yeah, I love the Germany stamps, and there was a few other Polish, and there's a few other countries I really enjoyed. But I was always drawn to the Australian stamps. And then there was the, you know, oh, I've got to get one of everything. But then I was drawn to the early Australian stamps. So I stopped, you know, at 2000, like mostly everybody else. And then I just concentrated on the early stuff. And then I went, oh, KGV are nice and I can afford them, so let's do those. And I should have concentrated on kangaroos first because they were cheaper back then, but they always were, seemed a lot more expensive. But they're so much more expensive now. But I'm still missing those key values, like every one of those kangaroos. But one day, I'm just going to splurge and buy them and fill those holes and just go, done it. But they won't be for a while. And things like that, you don't want to, especially those expensive ones, you want to get good quality, well centered. And I want to get the used versions with beautiful cancels. I'm not going to settle for, I'm not going to pay a lot of money for a second rate stamp. I want to get a good one. So if I want to sell it again, I can. A lot of people don't realise. A lot of people will pay half the price for a stamp and it's a bit damaged and they're like, oh, look, you know, I paid $500, I filled the hole. But very hard to sell that same stamp for $500 again. But if they paid the $1,000 and it's perfect and pristine, then you could sell it, not just for the $1,000, you'd probably be able to sell it more. So you always have to keep that in the back of your head. If you're going to go for those really expensive stamps, you know, find the best version of it as you can. And that's why I like cancels on my stamps. Because, you know, I mean, look at that stamp. That's a normal everyday stamp. But if we come back up here, this cancel, well, that's a bit different, isn't it? Well, I know it's from Melbourne. And it's like number 14, like the post office number 14. Victoria, so it's different. It stands out a bit more. I would rather buy that one than that one. But then someone's going to say, oh, but that's got a mark on it. I can't see it. Excuse me. Well, that's wood end. Look at that, 2017. Well, 1917. What was I thinking? Look at these. Now, if you're still with me, you are the diehards. And you're looking for that. Oh, I wonder what's that on his face. Is that just a scratch, or I have to take note of that, have a look, closer look. But you can't tell me they're not all different. Now, there are different shades of the 1D red. Oh, I could probably, I haven't got the knowledge to go through all that. There are experts out there. I could say something now and I'll get shot down, so I'm not going to try. But look at that. There's different coloured reds. And there's a history about it. You can go to stampboards.com and they've got a lot of experts on there and they know everything. I can sit on there and read for hours. And those guys, you know, I just feel like a child still when I'm in their company. What they know and what they've poured into, you know, into the stamp world is amazing. Sorry. And then you've got people that collect cancels. So you get those early cancels with numbers on them. So you get the state stamps with those. And I've got a couple of albums here. I've got a really good Queensland album I bought in 1998 from Glenn Steffens in Sydney for $300. And he went, oh, it's an old album. It's not worth much. And I bought it from him. I got it shipped. And I had to go get myself a catalogue and I read through it. And I found a whole page of cracked plate 2D blues. And I wrote to him and said, guess what? And he goes, oh my God. But he's like that. He'll just turn things around for a quick buck. He hasn't got time to check some of the stuff. And it's sometimes just luck of the draw. But I'll find that book and we'll go through that as well. Though I have gone through it and pulled out all the cancels. So we'll do a video on the cancels that I pulled out and then we'll go through the rest of the book and I'll find those cracked plates. Because not only is the cracked plate worth a lot of money, you've got different perforations on the of these cracked plates and one's worth a hell of a lot more than the other. So we should check those as well. But I can't believe we're up to 9 minutes 15, 16 on just this, going through these stamps. And no doubt, most of you have left thinking, oh my gosh, how specialised do these people get? But then the other half of you are 1D fanatics going, hey Jeff, page 15, row 5, stamp number 23. I need it for my collection. And I'll go, mate, I'm happy to let it go if you've got a really nice cancel and a 3D airmail. And that's the beauty about stamp collecting. It doesn't matter if the stamp's worth a couple $100. It's not worth a couple $100 to me. But I'm willing to swap it for something that I haven't got. And I've got a lot of 3D airmails, but if there's a nice socked on the nose airmail, that to me is worth a couple $100. I shouldn't say that out loud because now you're all going to list them on eBay and put larger prices on them for me. But I'm shocked how many socked on the nose stamps are now disappearing from the market. I'm finding a lot of people are now retiring, baby boomers and Gen X and things, and we're all gravitating back into stamp collecting and it's really starting to take off again. I'm currently in Queensland. We've moved up here, my last posting before discharge. And I went to the Queensland stamp show and it was like I was a kid again. there was so many people. I could hardly move. It was insane. There was so much interest. There have to be thousands of people going through. I just haven't seen it that busy. And people were just, not bartering for stamps. They're just paying, taking and filling it up and going, this is my hobby. I want those stamps. They're filling holes. Yeah, it was just amazing. And just seeing some of the old stamp dealers, they're all aged now and they're still there at it, selling them again, which are quite, it's great. I was just looking at the 8 there. But I've grown up with a lot of these dealers, like writing away to them and asking for stamps and things like that. And just to see them in real life, it's like going to a rock concert for normal people. Meeting band members, but, stamp dealers to me are like band members, It's just fantastic to talk to them and, talk to someone who's got the same interest. And I think my favourite thing is sitting at a stamp desk and I can sit there for hours and just talking to the dealer and then talking to people next to me. And then you talk about what they collect and then what you collect. And, it's just amazing. Because what you find is you can talk to your wife, your kids, your friends and family about stamps, and they all look at you with a blank face going, yeah, it's not too interesting. Thank you. But you talk to another stamp collector, oh my gosh. And if you're lucky enough to talk to a stamp collector that specialises in the exact same thing as you, wow. And I know there must be a couple more people that specialise in 3D airmail green, because there's someone always bidding against me when I try and get the good cancels. It does my head in. Because I used to be able to buy them for $1 or $2 at most. Now I'm paying up to $8. All the prices for the 3D airmails have gone up. I think with me buying them all the time over the last 10, 20 years, it's just pumped the value of them up on eBay. I'm my own worst enemy. And I go to myself, I'm not going to buy any for 3 months. And hopefully the prices will come down, but then you just miss those good ones. I love those. I love that stamp with little stars at the bottom. Oh, I just love these so much. I could look at these for hours. I think what I'm enjoying now is I've seen a few videos on YouTube and people sharing their stamps, and I thought, I get the chance to share my passion with not just a few people but the world. And I think Australian stamps are by far the most beautiful stamps in the world. And that's just me talking. I mean, I know what you collect are the most beautiful, but, as collectors, we wouldn't be collecting if we didn't think that the most, beautiful things in the world. I think once I've, in 2 or 3 years, if I've finished with the Australians, I wouldn't mind doing Germany next. Especially through World War I and II. Just some of those stamps just really intrigue me. They just look good. But what I'd also noticed is I was looking up Australian stamps and I just wanted to see some different videos on Australian stamps. And there wasn't really anything there. I mean, we've got some great YouTubers from around the world doing world stamps, which is fantastic. And a few of them have looked at Australian stamps, which is great. Look at that, that's a bit darker. And I really appreciate it. I love it. I can watch them for breakfast every morning. I love listening. Silk is my new guy. He is just amazing. And he's so happy-go-lucky and he's awesome. If you're not following him, you got to do that. He's always my breakfast watch. But I thought, you know what? I haven't got the best collection in the world. It's not the worst collection. Is that Donnybrook? Something Brook. Haven't got the worst collection, but it's better than what's already up there for Australian stamps. So I thought I'd share. And you don't know how good your collection is until you do share it. And I've been very surprised with the positive feedback, which makes all of us feel a little bit better, that people have enjoyed what we've put together. Now I know I've got a lot more work to do, but hey, if it was all finished, I'd be sad. So, you know, I love to go through and find out what type these are and everything, but I don't think I've got enough years left in me to do that. But if there's anything special anyone sees that they've got to have for their collection, please feel free to let me know. Sydney. There's not many I must have taken all the cancels out. I think when you had a look at my other KGV collection, I had all the pristine cancels pulled out and placed in that good collection. Just going to go a little bit quicker along here. I think it's important too when you look at the stamps is we want to look at them. I mean, if I do this, at least you can stop the video where you want. I think that might be just torn. And you can have a closer look and scan in a bit closer. And if you're a 1D KGV nut, then you will do that. I know I heard of somebody and they were rebuilding a whole sheet of KGV. So they wanted to collect each used stamp and build the sheet. 100 stamps. Crazy amazing. And I've been toying with the idea with my 3D airmail. I sort of put them all out in states. I thought, I'll get each state, but it doesn't provide a completeness because you can't get every single town within that state. So I thought, I wonder if I rearrange them all and put them in date sequence and try and get all the dates. I thought that'd be nice because it goes for quite a few years. And that's the beauty about collecting. You just come up with something in your head and you collect it. If you just want to do dog stamps, then you collect every single dog stamp you can find. If you just want old stamps, collect old stamps. If you want to get new stamps, get new stamps. If you want stamps to invest in, well then buy the goddamn best version of stamps you can find that everyone wants. And usually they're like early West Australian stamps, swans, because everyone loves birds. Well, yeah, kangaroos are a really good animal. Even these KGVs, if you get the right ones. But like something like that, so I'm going to have to pull that out and throw it out. It's got toning. I don't want that to go through the rest of the collection. Once you start seeing toning, you just got to, you can't really get rid of it. I mean, you could probably boil it in water and things, but it's not going to get rid of it completely. Sometimes it's easier just to throw it out, not risk the whole collection. I had a friend of mine, his grandfather left him a collection and he brought it to work. He says, you know about stamps, can you tell me how much I'm going to make on these? I'm going to be a millionaire. He's been collecting for years. And it happens all the time. A lot of the time I'm like, look, he's just a general collector. They're not really worth that much because they're just, low denominations and they're no real order or they're really not specialised whatsoever. And you could see their hearts just drop. But this one guy brought it in and he had the most beautiful kangaroos, high value, everything, but toning all the way through it. It was just atrocious. I just couldn't believe that such a high value collection was just filled for toning and rust, and yeah, he just couldn't understand. He's like, well, we can wash them, we can do this. I'm just like, yeah, it's beyond my scope. I had to send him off, and I think he went and saw a few dealers, but they weren't, too interested in giving him a great price. I mean, you can always sell them, but you run the risk of just putting cancer through the rest of your collection. But, that's the thing. I mean, that's why you have to... I've just done a video before. I use these Prinz black sheets because they're high quality German cardboard. They don't promote toning like the old Chinese albums that you see a lot of collections in. When kids were collecting, I had them. You got to get them out of that quick, smart. Put them in good covers like this. And then another one is, and I only learnt this 10, 15 years ago or whatever, or 20 years ago, was cases. And Glenn Steffens and a lot of guys on stamp boards are really promoting them, and I started looking into it and went, oh, wow, you need to put your album into a case so no air can get in. And as you can see, a lot of my stamps are preserved quite well. And now we're in Queensland. I've also got moisture collectors in the room, but I always leave my stamps in cases. So you got to listen to the people that know what they're talking about sometimes and spend the money and just look after your collection. Because, like, people say, oh, they're an investment and this and that, but they're only an investment if you can find a person to buy them. But really, it's just your love in life. And the thing with stamps is you can start young, pack them away, come back in 10 years and start again. Pack them away, come back in 5 years and start again. Pack them away, wait until you retire, and then get back into it again, which I've done throughout my whole life. I've got a lot of friends at work now, scared to retire, terrified. Look at those, completely different. Terrified to retire because they're going to be bored in their life, in their retirement. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to do this, or, and they get out and do it, and then they're like, oh, I want to join back up again, or I want to do reserve work. I'm like, enjoy retirement for God's sake. Oh, I've got nothing. I've got no hobbies. Pardon me. I've just, stamps, everything. It's just like, wow, these are a passion. Though I do have a bad back, like cervical, so I find bending my neck down for too long will give me headaches. So beauty about this is I can do an hour and then go away, come back the next day and do another hour. So I always like to go for a walk in the morning and then come and sit down with my stamps. I'm really enjoying talking about them and showing them off. It's more fun than managing a couple hundred people on a defence base with all their problems and organising all the stuff I did at the time. I mean, it was good fun when I was right in the thick of it. But now I think I just want to do stuff I want to do for me. Like a lot of us when we retire, like, what do you want to do? And if you look at my YouTube channel, I've got travel, because my boy plays inline hockey and ice hockey. And we travel around the world with that, or around the country. So I take heaps of videos. I love traveling. So I'll take videos and I'll upload them. And it's to share with you all, just my family. And then I also love model building I want to get back into. So I've been doing some unboxing to try and ignite the interest in me again to start building. I've set up my desk for that. And I love my stamps. I'm back into those again. And painting. Now, I've only started with the paint by numbers just to give me the juices to flow again. But they're quite nice and meditating. Look at those stars again. See that? I love that cancel. But yeah, those paint by numbers are great because I'll sit here and listen to an audiobook, which I highly recommend while you paint. And you can do two things at once: is slowly paint away and paint the numbers and produce a beautiful print or painting, and listen to a great book. I think it was about 10 years ago, my mum said, oh, you should get into audiobooks. I'm like, oh, no way in the world. I love reading print. And as you get older and your eyes get worse, you're like, oh, I can't read anymore. It's too much pain. Or you lay in bed and you read for 5 minutes, you're asleep. But I tell you, Audible has changed my life. I drive the kids around all over the countryside and I listen to Audible all the time. I really, really love it. So yeah, I'm maximising my time, which is great. And I'm learning new skills. So YouTube's great fun. I'm learning how to shoot video. I can't believe the amount of problems with lighting to get this to not reflect. And then I had to stop the shaking in my hand when I passed over the stamps. So my wife bought me an Osmo 3, which at the moment is doing quite well. And then I've got to learn how to cut the videos and put a thumbnail, and then how to add links at the back to push people onto other stuff that I've done. Do playlists, because my channel's a bit of a mixture of everything. I don't want people to be put off by that, but I suppose I should do separate channels, but I'm not there yet. I'm still practicing. So this is all practice. So you got to do the first 100 videos, first 1,000 shorts before you're any good. So we've just really just started. But I did hit 100,000 views this morning, which I was quite proud of. I think we've got one last page. There's a couple of not perfect socked on the nose. Look at that one. Yeah. Guys, if you find anything you want, let me know. Look at that. Young. That's my last name. Glebe. Dubbo. Burwood. God, I just love, look at the date. 18th of March, is it 1918? Wow, that's just amazing. It's over 100 years old, that stamp. It's sitting in my book. I also love finding a stamp, like a cancel on the stamp, and especially my 3D airmails. And when we go for a drive through the country or take the kids somewhere for a competition or something, I'll drive through this strange little town and stop in front of the post office. And they will go, what are you doing this for, Dad? Well, now they know. They go, oh, what stamp is this one, Dad? That's nice. That's it. And that's the rest of the stockbook. As you can tell, it's all, I can't even, yeah, it's all full of stamps. I can go through those later if anyone's interested. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Have a wonderful day.